All right, for the first 7 hours of playing Monster Hunter Wilds, I hated the game. It was a horrible experience, and I never want to do it again. All right, that joke is going on long enough. The reason I hated the first 7 hours is because of a hardware issue. The GPU I was running at the time was a 1080 Ti. As you can see from this footage, the game ran like ass. It was hard as hell to dodge anything, hard as hell to hit anybody, and it wasn't fun to play because of how much it would lag. So I talked to the guy who should get hit by a bus and got suggestions about a GPU upgrade. I upgraded to an AMD Radeon 7800 XT, and now the game is actually fun to play. I can actually kill things and not lag during the fights. I actually know what I'm doing in the middle of a fight and can dodge attacks. Sometimes. With all that being said, let's talk about my actual thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds keeps the essence of the mechanics of the Monster Hunter series, but it doesn't really expand that much on it mechanically. I have been enjoying its main gameplay loop though, because the combat is as good as other Monster Hunter games I've played. I've only been playing Monster Hunter since Monster Hunter World, but I've always enjoyed the combat, even if I'm not super good at it. Well, I started with the Lance and the Gun Lance, but now I've mostly been sticking with the Hunting Horn as my weapon of choice, because I really enjoy being able to deal damage and support my teammates at the same time. And the combat in Wilds, it feels good, because it keeps the essence of Monster Hunter's combat. Like, the feedback you get on all of your hits, it just feels right. And the monsters don't feel insanely tough to me yet. I haven't hit high rank yet, where I know the difficulty steps up. From what I've been told, it's not insanely hard. Like, it doesn't hit the same level as World did, I think, is what the guys have told me. But I don't know right now. But in World, I know there was a good amount of monsters that I personally had a tough time dealing with. There were some that I had to call in help from the guys with, because I died like 10 to 15 times on them. And this is even before high rank kicked in at the time. I just couldn't get the timing down on their attacks. In Wilds, the most I've failed a quest is maybe 3 or 4 times so far. There were so many times my game just lagged, and I could not see anything because of the particles. What I'm saying is the monsters feel much more manageable in this game. Not particularly weaker, but like they have a bit more of a wind up to their attacks, I think. I'll be honest, it has been a while since I played like Worlds or Rise, so kind of comparing them to Wilds is kind of just going by memory, but it feels like Wilds is just, it's not slower, but it just feels like there is a bit more of a wind up from the enemies. And I think this is why people have said that it's the most accessible Monster Hunter game for new players, or one of the most accessible ones, because the combat doesn't feel as punishing as other Monster Hunter games, like World, at least from what I remember. I also think they improved on their storytelling a good bit. It's still not like an excellent story, but I kind of actually care about these characters a little bit. So in Worlds and Rise, I didn't really care for the characters or the story. I was there to just kill monsters with friends, and that was about it. I didn't really sit through many of the cutscenes. I just kind of, skipped my way through. But with Wilds, I'm sitting there watching everything and getting invested, maybe, in getting like Nada back home and what's going on with each tribe after we meet them. So far, at least, I don't know if invested is actually the right word. More like maybe interested is a better way to phrase it in what is going to happen with these characters of the expedition and the tribes, especially as I'm getting into like the mid to late game. Because I know how this story will eventually end up. I know how like all the Monster Hunter stories basically end. It's going to end with hunting the Arkveld. Like, it's just how every Monster Hunter game ends up, because the game's literally named Monster Hunter. It's kind of self-explanatory that you're going to hunt a big monster at the end. And I'm fine with that. But I also want to see like the journey and development of the characters from the expedition and Nada and the other tribes, and like how they grow throughout the series, or how throughout the story. There is one thing about the game that I don't really like it. And that's the party system for multiplayer. So in the 2 previous games, World and Rise, when you partied up, you were always basically together. Your leader would go to the board and post a quest, and everybody readies up, and you jump straight into it together. Or you could walk out of town or camp and go and explore and just, kill shit in a certain area or in a certain level. It was that simple. In Wilds, it feels like they've made it a bit more complicated. To do kind of like the same thing that you do in like World and Rise, where, you party up with people and you're always together, you have to create a link party and then invite the party to your environment link. Just like the 2 other games. But when your party joins, you can't choose a quest to go on and to go hunt a specific monster. If you're in an environment link with friends or randoms, all you can do is go explore and run around like whatever place you're at, and the game will just generate a quest for you when you start attacking a monster. Or if you want to do like a specific quest or like hunt a specific monster, you have to be in a link party, and then your friends have to accept your quest invite to join you. They can't just be there in the environment link and get dragged into the quest. It's dumb that you cannot choose a specific quest to go on and do for like progression if you're in an environment link. The whole system I just find kind of dumb and bloated. It's just, I know they're going for like a more seamless open world type system this time around. At least that's what I think they've said. But it's just kind of annoying to play with friends with this whole system that they've put in, compared to games like Worlds and Rise, where, yeah, it's an extra loading screen or 2, but who cares? You're still like, you're playing with friends and you're able to quickly get in there because you're all there already. I don't know, I don't like their party system. But even with this annoying party system, I find Monster Hunter Wilds really fun. I like a good story, and I think Wilds has a decent story, but its gameplay loop is what carries the game for me. I'm working my way towards endgame right now. I think I'm just about done with Chapter 4, and getting closer and closer to high rank, where I know the challenge really is, and I look forward to when I get there and challenging the high rank enemies, or high rank monsters, with my friends, through the game's, annoying party system. It's because of those reasons that I still put Monster Hunter Wilds just over Avowed in my I love it category. The game, after those first 7 hours, has just been a lot of fun, and I've been really enjoying my time in its world hunting monsters. I don't feel like Wilds does anything new with its combat or like any of its mechanics, but it still keeps that really good feel that you get when in combat in the other Monster Hunter games. Their story this time feels a bit more interesting than other iterations, even though their multiplayer system is really lacking and like bloated and just doesn't feel good to use. But overall, I've really enjoyed my time playing Monster Hunter Wilds. And those currently are my thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds. If you have your own, drop them in the comments, and also please do all the algorithm stuff. I've also got a link to Patreon in the description, but most importantly, I hope you have a royal day or night, and I will talk to you later.